everybody. Good morning and welcome to Engadget stage here at CES 2019. And I am joined on stage today by the wonderful Gary Shapiro, who is the CEO of the Consumer Technology Association and the producer of the show that we're at, CES. Hi, Gary.
Hi, thanks for coming here and thanks for having me on this amazing stage.
Gary is here to talk about how the US-China trade relations and the tariffs have impacted the show and what the CTA might be doing with its member companies to figure out a way around this or figure out a good resolution. So Gary, give me kind of a brief overview about what has happened so far and the CTA's involvement.
Well, this started out with the campaign of Donald Trump when he ran. He correctly noted, as have prior parties, that the China-U.S. relationship is not exactly balanced in terms of numbers, and it is difficult as a U.S. company to do business in China. We have all sorts of large tariffs, we have rules, you have to have a partner, there's theft of intellectual property, they've been copying a lot of our products, they've been keeping out some of our best companies like Google and Twitter and Facebook, so it's an unbalanced relationship. And I think there's a fairly strong, unanimous sense in the business community that is factually accurate. There's no question that China's definitely gotten better about intellectual property theft because there's a lot of pressure, but also because they have their own innovative companies with intellectual property they're trying to protect. So a tariff is a tax, and these taxes now, it's a 10% tax on a couple $100 billion worth of products coming in, and it's raising prices, it's costing industry, consumers, it's hurting trade, it's being met by Chinese tariffs. We're trying to sell our products like our agriculture goods. It's just, we're getting into this tariff war. And you know, when elephants fight, the ground gets trampled. And the ground are people in both China and the US. The US economy is starting to suffer, the Chinese economy certainly suffered. And it's a standoff right now. I mean, the good news is, to the extent there's any good news, is that on January 1, they were supposed to go from 10% to 25%. And there was a nice little meeting that the president, Xi, had with President Trump, and they agreed to hold that for 90 days. So the next big deadline's March 1. If nothing happens, they go to 25% on all these products, and that would be devastating to companies like Walmart and Best Buy, but also to a lot of Chinese companies and American companies, even like Apple and others, because no product's made in one country anymore.
Right.
We said we don't like the tariffs. We made it pretty clear they're on very questionable legal authority because it's a tax.
Yeah.
The Constitution of the United States said only the Congress can set taxes.
Right.
Congress gave very limited authority to the president on tariffs, mostly for national security. This isn't national security. No. So while the initial set of tariffs follow the law, the retaliation that kept going up clearly is very dubious legally. And so it's a little bit of legal limbo on that. Should they go up to 25%? If you never have a deal with China and tariffs go up, there's going to be a problem. It'll definitely affect the stock market. It already has. A lot of the shifts in the stock market are now due to tariffs and global economic uncertainty. And what I've heard from leaders of other countries in Europe and in Asia, this isn't just about China and the US.
Right.
This is a global issue.
Yes.
And right now the global economy is clearly weakening a lot. The politics in China is getting tougher. They're really cutting down on the privacy of their citizens. They're banning virtual private networks. They don't have access to the internet there. They don't have the freedoms that we expect and enjoy. So it's expensive, more expensive to do business in China because of the one-child policy, because of their economic growth. They have a shortage of workers, essentially. So things are moving out of China anyhow. This is accelerating that. So people are looking at, I was with this morning people from Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines. People are moving quickly, Vietnam, other areas, and they're saying this makes more sense to spread our risk out, to deal with the China situation and all this uncertainty, political uncertainty, economic uncertainty, tariffs.
So far, from what I am hearing, a lot of companies and businesses have been avoiding passing on the cost to consumers or their clients. Come March 1st, if that 25% tariff goes into effect, how long do you think before we start seeing the impact across the nation, across the global economy?
Well, we're seeing an impact, first of all, in the volatility of the stock market. So over 60 companies have referred to tariffs in their earning calls. Our industry spent $1 billion per month extra over the prior year. on tariffs. So, and that's at the 10% level on a limited range of products. If this goes into 25% and even broader range of products, devastating financial impact, prices, stock market, but we're seeing the volatility already. So this is an issue already today. It's slowly being felt. The future is about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is about data. Data, there's a trade-off between privacy and innovation. China has no privacy. They want to be innovative. They're training engineers. They're focused on artificial intelligence. That's their goal. They're blocking out a lot of American and European companies from doing business there. Their focus is on the future. And perhaps that's what Trump is talking about. The Europeans, they want to be good in artificial intelligence, but they've locked down privacy, so you can't do, you could take your name off everywhere on the internet if you want, the right to be forgotten. They have, it's called GDPR, the privacy rules. The US is like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. We're the porridge that tastes really good now. We balance innovation and privacy. We're reasonable. It's situational. We're debating it. We don't have one big law that affects everything, and we really value innovation. China's approach is not bad if you don't care about freedom to access the internet, freedom of speech, freedom to marry, freedom of religion, clean air, clean water. The US approach, I think, is good if you value liberty and clean air and clean water and a lot of the other things we value. But it's not only about the US versus China, it's going to be about a battle in the world between spheres of influence among all the countries and how technology will proceed. And my biggest fear in my job is that innovation will not find its path. We will not be able to solve all these amazing world problems and do great things, whether it's self-driving cars or better health outcomes based on your individual malady and what everything else is going, unless we progress as fast as we can in artificial intelligence. Last year, 13 to 14% of the physical space, the footprint, which is how we measure ourselves, was Chinese. This year, 13 to 14% of the show's physical space is Chinese. Now, it is true there's a number of Chinese companies that's gone down. The bigger companies got bigger, and a lot of the smaller companies, either they merged or they started not to come or whatever. But it's really insignificant. And to us, it's the same. In terms of the number of people that came from China, in pre-registration, we didn't see any change, really. Things happen that you can't always plan for, and you have to adjust quickly. And that's what companies have to do to survive, because just because something doesn't happen for 50 years or 100 years doesn't mean it's not going to happen. And there's 1,000 different things now, from climate change to political risk to economic risk to all sorts of things. Civil protests that could happen, the companies have to prepare for. We have several strong positions. We're pro-innovation, we're totally free trade, but fair trade. We don't ask the government for money because we're concerned about the federal deficit, and increasingly we think our products can save the federal government money, especially increasingly in healthcare, telework, monitoring. These are great solutions. Certainly self-driving cars, things like that are going to make us greener, save energy usage, even 5G. 90% energy saving from 5G. The business environment does not benefit that much from near-term uncertainty. We have a lot of it because of the tariffs and the government closing. I mean, this could soon affect ports. It's affecting TSA. So the uncertain environment's affecting the stock market. Stock market affects consumers' sense of their own wealth. That affects buying. That affects companies. We're in a very tenuous time right now. I haven't felt this way since 2008. The show is a record setter, larger than ever. We've done well. The industry's done well. We had record growth. We had a lot of things. We're projecting great sales. But because of these tariffs, the International Monetary Fund cut the growth for the US in 2018, cut it for the world, cut it for 2019. The world could be heading to a recession because of our government, honestly. But there is also a business cycle of boom and bust. And we've had a good 10 years, and we may be due for a recession anyway.
So it looks like we have a tense year ahead. I think the entire industry is waiting with bated breath right now. We're all holding our breaths, kind of waiting to see what happens after these talks. So good luck to everybody. I think good luck to you too, Gary. Thank you so much for coming to talk to us, and thank you for watching. Those of you at home, stay tuned and stay here in the audience because we have so much more interviews, panels, lots of cool programming, and the Best of CES Awards ceremony is happening later today. So come back to the stage, stay tuned to Engadget.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it.